Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you my thoughts on the British royal family and Harry and Meghan. And today I'm doing a follow-up video to my second video in my new series of royal mysteries. And this is the video with the thumbnail, Diana's face, and it talks about the mystery woman in black who was at the royal wedding in 2011 of Prince William and Catherine. April the 29th, 2011. The world was glued to their screens watching Prince William and Catherine Middleton's fairy tale wedding at Westminster Abbey. But among the 1,900 guests, one woman stood out to me. A mysterious figure in a black hat with a veil, seated behind the choir. Her expression sombre, almost haunting. She seemed to carry a secret, a sadness that didn't fit the joy of the day. In my last video, I thought I had worked out who she was, but I was wrong. Today, after hours of digging, I've uncovered her identity, I believe. Lucy Greenwell, now Lucy Duckworth Chad. So let's unravel this royal mystery together. Grab a drink and let's get into this. When I first spotted her in the BBC's coverage, she was seated near MPs such as George Osborne behind the choir in Westminster Abbey. Her black hat and veil caught my eye, and I thought she was actually dressed all in black, giving her an air of mystery. Her face, well, it reminded me of someone, possibly even Princess Diana. My first guess was that she was Frances Osborne, George Osborne's first wife, since MPs were seated in that area and their names were on the guest list. But then I found photos of Frances arriving at the Abbey. Her hat was different, her dress a totally different colour, nothing like the woman I saw. So I had to start over. So I dove into hundreds of Google images, scouring photos of guests arriving at the royal wedding. I was looking for that black hat with a veil, and that sombre sort of look she had. After hours of searching, I believe I found her. There she was, walking into Westminster Abbey with a man and another couple. She wore a black hat with a veil, a black jacket, but she had a very vibrant coral dress on underneath. And this is what I saw that I mentioned at the end of my first video, that I noticed as I was editing and finishing the video, that she had on something orange or coral coloured underneath her jacket. So I realised then that she was not all in black, but this photograph shows that she was probably wearing a coral coloured dress with the black jacket over it. Not all in black like I had originally thought. The man wore what most of them were wearing, the men. The dress code was morning suits, and he wore a suit and tie that matched the man who was sitting next to her in the BBC footage. So I believed I was onto something there. I dug deeper into the man's identity and discovered he was William Duckworth Chad, a friend of Prince William, and the woman, his brand new wife, Lucy Greenwell. They had tied the knot just weeks earlier on April the 2nd, 2011 in Suffolk. Lucy, the daughter of Sir Edward Greenwell, a baronet, was no stranger to high society. Their wedding was a big deal, with guests like Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Lady Jane Fellows, Princess Diana's sisters, and Sir Robert Fellows, who was Queen Elizabeth II's private secretary. This couple wasn't just any pair. They were connected to the royals in a big way. But who were they, and why were they at the royal wedding? There was a point where I was looking at all the relatives of Princess Diana because I was convinced that this woman was a relative. Many of you were also. You could see a sort of resemblance. And these are the only ones that I could come up with, the very beautiful daughters of Diana's brother, and also these other daughters did not resemble at all, and I mentioned this in the first video, so that ruled them out completely. But let's talk about William Duckworth Chadd's royal ties, because they're key to this story. William isn't just a friend of Prince William, he's his second cousin. His mother, Elizabeth Wake Walker, is a granddaughter of the 7th Earl Spencer, making her a cousin of Princess Diana. So that means that William Duckworth Chadd is directly tied to Princes William and Harry through the Spencer family. It's a distant connection, but it's real. His grandmother, Lady Margaret Herbert, was the daughter of the 4th Earl of Carnarvon, linking the family to other aristocratic circles. And his father, Anthony Duckworth Chadd, is a Norfolk landowner, a former High Sheriff, and an OBE recipient. This is a family with serious clout. But William's connection to Prince William goes beyond blood. They're friends, likely bonded through shared experiences in elite circles. Eton, Sandhurst, or maybe even polo matches. The Duckworth Chadds are royalty adjacent, moving in the same social world as the Windsors. Now here's a fun fact. William's sister, Davina Duckworth Chadd, was rumoured to have dated Prince William back in 1999. They were spotted together on a cruise with Prince Charles and Camilla. No serious romance, but it shows how close this family is to the royals. William's brother James was also at the royal wedding, spotted arriving at the Abbey, which makes it even clearer that the Duckworth Chadds were part of William and Catherine's inner circle. So why was Lucy there? Well, as William's new wife, she obviously would be there. The Greenwells are landed gentry, but Lucy's royal connection comes through her marriage to William. And as for the coral dress and black hat, that was a very stylish choice for a new bride stepping into one of the biggest events of the decade. But what about the sad expression? Why did she look so sombre in a moment of celebration? So let's look into that haunting expression, because it's what made her stand out. In the BBC footage, Lucy's face seemed pensive, almost melancholic, like she was carrying some kind of weight. Many of us couldn't help but notice a resemblance to Princess Diana, but not in a family way, because obviously Lucy's not a Spencer, but in that emotional faraway look. It was more her expression that was similar. So was it just a trick of the camera? Maybe. But it did show her quite a bit, and she did continually have that sort of expression. The royal wedding was heavy with Diana's presence. Hymns like "Guide Me, O Thou Great Redeemer," sung at both her funeral and William's wedding, might have stirred something in Lucy, or maybe it was personal. She had just become married weeks earlier, and weddings can bring up all sorts of emotions. Joy, nerves and reflection. Being at a globally watched event surrounded by royalty could have been overwhelming. We'll never know for sure, but that look made her unforgettable. And here's something else that I realised. Lucy and William's names are not on the official guest list for the royal wedding. You would think that a second cousin and his wife would be front and centre, wouldn't you? So why the omission? The guest list we see online, like on Wikipedia, is not the full picture. It covers about 1,900 people at the Abbey, but it focuses on the big names, royals, prime ministers, celebrities like Elton John and David Beckham. William and Lucy, while connected, are not A-listers. They were likely personal invites from Prince William himself, not part of the formal Clarence House list. As friends and family, they might have been tucked away in the +1 category, like Mr. and Mrs. William Duckworth Chadd. without individual mention. Another possibility, their recent wedding, having just tied the knot, they might have kept off the public list to avoid drawing attention from William and Catherine's big day. Or it could be about privacy. The royal wedding was a security nightmare with cameras everywhere. Less prominent guests like Lucy and William might have been left off to keep things low-key. Their seating behind the choir, near MPs like George Osborne, tells us that they were in the friends and family section, not the VIP front rows. The media didn't zero in on them. They were zeroing in on the choir members who were singing at the time, so they just got caught in that camera view. The cameras were way too busy with the celebrities as well, Victoria and David Beckham. So let's talk about how I found Lucy, because this was a detective story. After ruling out Francis Osborne, I went down a rabbit hole of Google images and hunting for that black hat with a veil. When I saw Lucy's coral dress and William's suit in the entrance photos, it clicked. The man next to her in the Abbey footage had the same tie, the same build. It was them. The other couple they were walking with, probably friends of Prince William's, but the camera caught them mid-chat, mixing up partners for a moment. Easy to see how that happens in the chaos of a royal wedding. So this investigation wasn't easy. I sifted through hundreds of photos, cross-referenced outfits, and tracked down names. The breakthrough came when I identified William Duckworth Chad and realised his new wife Lucy fitted the description perfectly. Lucy Greenwell in the archives, now Lucy Duckworth Chad. And you, my viewers, helped spark this journey. Your comments and theories from the last video pushed me to keep digging, so thank you for that. So, the mysterious woman in black. Well, not totally black, black and coral. Lucy Greenwell, now Lucy Duckworth Chad, a new bride married to Prince William's cousin and friend. Her sad expression, maybe a moment of reflection, maybe just a camera catching her off guard, though I doubt that. She seemed to have that expression every time the camera caught her. So, perhaps she was just having a bad day. So, what do you think? I think we might never know why she was sad, and I think it's her business. So, it just goes to show how somebody totally unrelated can have a sad expression, and just a few eye movements and glances can trigger so many people to think of Princess Diana. I think it was a combination of the setting, the fact that it was there, the fact she had a very beautiful face, and those eyes, the way they looked sideways, it was not she herself that looked like Diana, but her expression. That's what I felt. And I think it was that expression combined with the black and the black veil sort of peeking out behind the carved wooden edge of the seat behind the choir, and the way the lamp threw the light on her face. I think it just triggered many of us to think, who is that woman who looks so sad? It was just quite something during the most exciting wedding of the year. And it could have been losing a family member. Somebody mentioned a plane crash that happened that day nearby. It wasn't actually a plane crash. It was a gyrocopter, and one man sadly lost his life. I don't think that has any relevance to this, but just addressing that suggestion from one of you. Let me have your thoughts on this. And stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't already, like if you liked it, and click the bell to receive more alerts for these videos of my new series, Royal Mysteries. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.